Hello, everybody, and welcome to my channel. You're on Booktube, actually AuthorTube this time. My name is Margaret Pinard. I'm a historical fiction and fantasy author, and this is the first time you're hearing this voice in 3 videos or 1 week, so thank you for bearing with me. It will probably get tired. I'm going to try to go slowly and speak clearly instead of having a forceful voice today. So happy New Year's Eve, everyone who's tuning in live. I'm doing a writer-focused tag today, so that is our focus. I've been doing quite the cleanup of tags that I was tagged in and have put off this one especially. So excited to finish off this year, crazy year of 2025 with a reflection on writing and yeah, the title says it all. Morgan Lee is an author friend on AuthorTube who created this tag 3 years ago called Give Yourself Grace Writing. And I was tagged in it 7 months ago by RK Stumbling Bear, Rachel, and she did a great version. Both of those videos are down in the description below. And it took me 7 months because those 7 months have been sort of procrastinating time. And Maggie knows much of what I speak there. So yeah, there's about 9 prompts. It asks you to get a little personal about your writing habits, career, thoughts, feelings. So I hope the people that I've tagged in this take it the right way and give yourself some kindness, think back on your writing habits. I tried to tag people in different writing niches. I know lots of writers across AuthorTube, so hopefully this will get Morgan's tag out a little bit further. So I'll just say welcome to everyone today. I saw a lot of people waiting for this to start, and now we've got 10. So I made the question of the day, I see blank people. Doesn't have to be dead. Just what's your answer for today? I thought that would be fun. Cute graphic. Yeah, feed your head. That's what writing does, really. My audio is working. Okay, great. Hi, Mike. Nice to see you. Anita is here. Hello. And Ray, hello. And Mojo, hello. Long time no see. Lovely to see you guys. And Jenny, hola peeps. No, let's not get off track, okay? So, hi, Laura. Your voice is back. Yes, but I'm going to try not to stress it out. And Anita says, yes, I do see dead people, at least in my writing. Oh, and Mojo is pointing out that I changed the video view from my last stream. And now we get to see a backside. If I tilt it a little bit more, there we go. Now Bean's completely in the picture. And Cat Paw, hello. Jenny's going for the retail end of the year answer. I see dumb people. Well, all right, we're going to get back, stay on track with the kindness theme for today. And let me just review this. If you're new here and you're a writer looking for community, I do writerly things, I promise. I've just been sort of absent for, about 7 months. So subscribe if you want to get more writer community. The first prompt that Morgan has listed is, what are the things that are overwhelming you? This can be personal life or creative life, whatever you feel comfortable sharing. Now, I'm going to remember to do this. Hope they're not all scrollers. There we go, so that I have time stamping abilities later, because that is very helpful. Mike sees bookish people. I see cat people. I like it. And it's true. Yes. Okay, so overwhelming things, personal life or writing life. Now, the moment that I do this last night, because I have had sort of a hiatus from thinking about writing, and I gave myself a sort of permission slip to not guilt myself about it, I wasn't feeling overwhelmed by writing things. But when you open the closet door to all the stuff that you crammed in there, like, obviously, it's gonna come rushing back, right? So, the things that I am feeling overwhelmed by are some of the things that I've seen Colleen M. Story talk about on her channel, which is great. She actually has 2 channels now. I advise you to check them out. She's one of my Tagees. Um, and I have a story that I drafted, uh, not this year, but last year, and I was supposed to edit and publish this year, and, I haven't found a passion for the story again. It's out, and it's not good enough to send to the editor, but I'm not excited about it enough to get down to microscopic grass level, with the story again. And so I called this "Finding a Love for the Story That's Been Abandoned." And the other thing I would say I know is lurking in that stuffed closet is motivation for all the tasks that are not writing. And Colleen just did a video about this, so it's probably on the top of mind. Um, Writing is one tiny portion of the life of a person who produces books, right? So I wrote the draft in 2024. It's been sitting waiting for me to edit it. I need to edit. I need to send it to an editor. I need to pay that editor. I need to make those changes and make all those decisions. I need to do extra research to verify those decisions. I need to choose the platforms I'm going to publish on and see if I'm going to change it up from last time. I need to format several different ways. I need to prepare marketing materials, which I will need to reach out to people to do reviews, to do spots, to do interviews, anything that I want to happen, I need to do as an indie author. So there's all these tasks surrounding being an author that are not writing. And having done this 7 times, I know which ones I like and which ones I don't. And sometimes I can fool myself into liking the ones that I don't. But not right now. So, motivation for all those tasks is a little overwhelming. Jenny says, "I see fictional people." Nice, nice. And hello, Libra, welcome in. So, overwhelming tasks is the first prompt. Second prompt, and you can find the full tag list of prompts in the description below, is evaluate the expectations. From the things you listed, what can you remove from your plate right now? And again, I didn't have a full list of things I was overwhelmed by because I've taken this sort of hiatus from writing. But I recently, and you all helped me with this on Monday, did some planning, not the curriculum page, but this page. I did some planning in the big red book, yes, bigger than my head. And I had some guiding questions that were about issues, obstacles, holdups. And one of them was, maybe if I perceive this thing as life homework, it'll be easier to get to it rather than always putting it off. And I thought, okay, well, maybe here's an idea. I can think about these other tasks around writing as life homework. And I give them a short amount of time, several days a week, and it's homework time. And, I have to do my self-care. I have to do my life chores. I have to do my other stuff around it. But at least there's okay, I need to show up at this time and put something in, right? If it's not one thing, it's another in the same unwanted category. So I had that thought and I thought, oh, I could extend it to this arena and then rotate what I do in that area. So like a 2 p.m. class that has homework that includes both life chore stuff as well as writing chore stuff. But I'm going to call it homework because that might change the color of things. So it doesn't really respond to expectations, but this is answering the question of removing, right? There's not a whole lot of things for me to then remove from. So it's more a question of how do I bring it into the routine so that there's not so much resistance. And if you're curious about why I use the word resistance very deliberately, you can read The Art of War uh, for Writing. I think that's what it's called. And S.D. Houston, my friend Shannon, just did a very long review of reading that book. So if you're curious about that Stephen Pressfield book, I found it to be very foundational at the beginning of my writing. Happy New Year, Elaine. Yes, we can hear me again. And we can see Bean. It's a triple digit day. Very exciting. All right. Prompt number 3 is establishing healthy boundaries. Saying no is sometimes difficult in our very supportive and loving community where you may feel you have to do certain things. This is talking about AuthorTube. What are your no-goes? What boundaries do you have or want to put in place for either your writing or working with other creators? And this was a difficult one to think about too. I think Morgan was getting at the relationality of AuthorTube and the fact that we like to do things for each other, collaborate, read a manuscript, give feedback, do a blog post, do a review, all these things to support each other, but it can get overwhelming. I am not in that whirlwind or maelstrom at the moment because of my writing hiatus. So I was thinking what I could really use to respond to this question. And it's more like instead of establishing healthy boundaries between myself and others in the community, it's more like I need to give myself guardrails on the writing process in my own life and segregate it from social media space, right? So we all have things like relationships and parasocial relationships, and it can get kind of emotionally taxing to uh, tend to them. And so my aims in the social media space, I think, need to be trimmed back and sharpened, like claws, like little big claws, maybe, so that when I'm sharing and talking and discussing, I have one hat on, which is yes, rational community member, but not uh, leaking other things out that need to be resolved in myself before I put them out before other people, right? Um, so social media space out here, have fun, support, shout out, boost signals, all the good stuff. And then the next layer is like people you work with and you're sharing feedback with, you're asking favors of, you're doing collaborations with, and you have an understanding that you have similar expectations, right? So you're not going to have someone say, "Oh, can you do these 10 things?" and you ask them to do one thing and you're like, So on the same expectations level, and then internally, I need those guardrails for my writing process, meaning I really lose a lot of the spark of the work that I'm working on when I share a bit of it or, drop a clue and no one else is excited about it, right? So I've learned over my years that I just need to bookmark those times that I feel excited about a nerdy detail and save it for later. I've put it into marketing materials after the book release, and it still doesn't really get much pickup, but I think that is a more appropriate place to share and see if other people have the same excitement that I do rather than before where it can derail the whole process. So, guardrails. Thank you, Libro. Yeah. We are a sick household at the moment. I feel very bad for both of my parents. Yeah. Hey, Felicia, Dreaming Truth author. Happy New Year's Eve. All right, so we're almost to halfway. Number 4 is embrace the change. Sorry for the congestion. How has your writing changed for the better since being on AuthorTube? Or how have you or your channel changed since you've started AuthorTube? Or what changes do you want to bring to your channel or your writing? Okay, so there's a lot of possibilities here. And if you want to do this tag, feel free to go ahead, choose any. I answered the first one, how has your writing changed? With, I've definitely explored more horizons, right? So I started publishing in 2013 and I started my Booktube channel in 2020. And so that's 7 years before and after. It gives a very clear sample. So 2022 is when I did the short story collection, which Derek kindly just shouted out, which is awesome. And that was new. I actually included fantasy and supernatural elements again, and that was really fun. It's a lot of very short stories. It's a very small collection. It's just sort of a pandemic work where it was, what has you jazzed? What has you creatively sparking? Just share that instead of a big serious project that you want to galvanize people. So it was definitely shifting gears, changing genres, changing formats. It was ebook only. So lots of changes there that I just let myself do rather than saying, well, it doesn't fit in with the rest. The spine isn't the same length. Like, people are going to freak. No one's going to freak out. No one's going to know. No. Yeah. And so Give Yourself Grace, as the title of this tag, is really pretty apt for that collection. I've tried different distribution channels. We've gone from Kindle to Ingram to Draft to Digital and Smashwords. I was always with Smashwords. I've tried new genres, as I just said. I've tried ebook only. I've tried an e-box set, looking at Emma Bennett's example, but didn't follow up. And then the other part of the question is, what changes do you want to bring to your channel or your writing? So I, for quite a while, had a regular installment of an author-focused video per month. And because of the hiatus, I was like, there's nothing going on. I'm not going to have that feature. I've got to shift it to something else, which I did. But I would like to have a regular sort of, here's my writer hat installment each month, like I do every other Wednesday for a Wednesday wrap-up. I think that's kind of the pace that I would like to share where I am, what I'm doing as an author, or share something from the author viewpoint, but have it be independent of where I am in my writing process. So, like, not an update on the WIP, the work in progress, where I'm sharing out what I did or the minute edits or things like that, because that will all change. And I don't think that's that interesting to readers. So I want to have a regular feature per month that is author life focused. And I'm not sure what that should hold. If you've got suggestions, please put them down below. I'd love to hear it. Yeah. And if you're looking for other author channels, several are in the chat, several are tagged below. So you might find more examples. I might find more examples on those people's channels. Yeah. So let me pause in the middle of our tag here. Okay. So boundaries. Elaine saying, like, in Booktube, I have to carefully assess which events I do. And Julie says, I see authorly people on screen and in the chat, and I love it. Yay. This is where I gave myself a reminder. I am an indie author, and there are 2 ways you can follow along with my journey. I want to put up a Patreon post, which I haven't done for 3 months, for folks today, and that will be at bit.ly/Patreon_MP4. or you can be a channel member. Either of those at the $5 level get bookish mail. So I'll send a postcard out every month. And yeah, so it's just a fun thing I do. It's separate. It's not to do with writing. Sometimes I do writing updates. Sometimes I just have fun and send goofy postcards because I love snail mail. All right, prompt number 5. Mistakes as opportunities. What mistake have you made in publishing, writing, or your channel that you have learned from? Hopefully we can all learn something too. Let me try this. And Jenny, close your ears. Authors, like ogres, should have layers of community. So if you get the Shrek reference or the Mike Myers reference, thank you. Thank you. I always love that. Ogres, like onions, have layers, and authors, like ogres, also have layers. So for mistakes, I think that I have a very shifting list, and I find it hard to keep track of. But the thing that I wrote down here is from outside to in. So again, sort of a layering of community. Um, People who are aware of you as an author, people who read you as an author, people who review your books. We're getting closer, right? People who boost you, who like shout you out on social media or, give you a high rating on a site where they review your book, something like that. People who interview you, right? They're reaching out and trying to get to know you better. People who beta read you, and again, that's like the author community, and people who have met you, right? If you've met in real life, that's kind of like a big boundary crossed. So I don't know why I put this into mistakes as opportunities, actually, now that I look at this, but let me think about it a second. And let me mute for a drink. All right. Well, I think I'm counting this as just like learning. And I've tried writing up lists of people to reach out to at various levels to review, to beta read, to collaborate. I do have a big collaborate list, but it just changes every year as people come and go and sort of change their focuses and whatnot. And I think my learning this year has been a lot about in real life relationships and trying to tend to those relationships because they've gone pretty slack in the pandemic years and I've gotten out of practice. He's about to be indecent. And so I was very, very comfortable being very frank and familiar with online communities, but had forgotten in real life opportunities. And so an awareness of the layers of community online as well as in real life, I think is something that is a good thing to remember going forward now that we've had these 5 years behind us. Um, Self-compassion is prompt number 6. What are 3 to 5 small wins that you have achieved today, this week, or this month? So I started with this week. This week, I thought about a way back into the manuscript. Remember, I said falling back in love and getting excited about editing it was just felt like too much. So I thought about a possible way to do that, and I sent an email, so I acted on it, so that was good. This month, I would say I kept going with the channel despite sickness. It's sort of a cheat because that's not writing related, that's channel related. But we'll take it because I wanted 3 things to satisfy Morgan's prompt. And then I expanded to this year. And this is what the Patreon post is going to be about. I've been thinking about the phrase empty hands. I'm sorry, I'm getting all this weird feedback in my head from my congestion. I hope you're not hearing that. Empty hands, like karate, right? That's what it comes from. I've let go of several things at the end of this year, and I am not that I had many choices, but I am choosing to think of it as, emptying the hands to receive, and I am not used to faith. I am not used to just believing something will happen. Um, I'm used to expecting things to happen, but this is different. This is like, I need to be, silent and accept things as they are before I can progress to a new level of appreciation. So this year, I've really worked at looking at the activities I do, the communities I'm in, the energy I put out, and letting go of what's not serving me and signing up for and reaching out to those things that I think will serve me. So, emptying my hands and getting ready is my whole year accomplishment. And then we get into some more fun prompts, which are number 7. What is your favorite author or genre of books to read for comfort, like a series you reread? Which is an excellent one. And so the Booktube people can chime in here. Elaine says she just watched Shrek, love the movie, and Layers. Yes. And also, my friend Albert, the conjugator, made some sort of connection with Shrek. I can't remember. Um, I'm a believer. Maybe that was it. It was one of the lyrics as poetry videos that he did. We had fun with those. Yeah, he settled down. Someone has to. It's not me. Not this year. So, favorite author or genre. I have 2. They won't surprise anyone who's tuned into my wrap-ups, and they are Lori R. King Mysteries. She does a Holmes and Russell historical mystery series with Sherlock Holmes and Mary Russell in 1920s, 1930s UK and around the world. They really do go everywhere, and a lot of backstory comes in for both of them. It's really a good series. And then the second one is going to be Grace Burroughs' romance mysteries, especially her Lady Violet series, which I think has about 6. I've reread Laurie King and Grace Burroughs a few times now. Not completely. I'm not a completionist, but just dipping back in when I need a comfort read. She combines history with romance, with mystery, and it's all very beautiful. So, yeah, she's great. Whoops. Change there. All right. And then the last, or second to last prompt. Being instead of doing. I lost my place. Come on. Jesus. All right. Being instead of doing. What is your favorite thing to do when you are not writing or making content? And I had several. Of course, I like a lot of things. I like walking. I like walking in the rain. I like walking in the fog here, the rain sometimes in Portland, up hills, down hills, seeing the views, appreciating the trees, breathing the air when I can, walking, dancing, whether that's a impromptu session at home in the living room or at the gym in the studio with my headphones when I'm trying to execute some moves I remember from college dance classes, or when I'm out on a walk and just have a great happy tune and I just do a little dance step, you mix them together there. Um, Baking. So being creative in the kitchen, flavors that I like, just meditatively mixing, giving myself grace that I can't do bread really well, but I can do baked goods. I can do cookies. I can do quick breads. Like there are things that I can do, and I'm hopeful that I can Make progress. This doesn't bode well for reading the excerpt next, but we'll get there. Baking. Reading never lets me down, almost. And that's why I accumulate so many books, probably, is that reading is the most recharging, refueling, revivifying activity that I can depend on in my life. So reading, obviously. And then travel planning. So if you tuned into my goals and reflections on Monday, I did talk about a big travel trip that I'm hoping to do next year and the process for that. And I really enjoy planning for travel, narrowing down destinations, adding more destinations, trying to figure out routes, trying to figure out how much I can fit in, trying to figure out which local museums and random things in small towns will end up being like the surprise hit. I just love exploring places and history and culture in places and sticking that in my itinerary. So travel planning is core function. Okay. Read an excerpt. The 9th prompt is read us a piece of your unedited work, because done is better than perfect and something is better than nothing. Okay, hold on. I need another Kleenex session. Okay. I'm going to Scrivener, buddy. I'm going to Scrivener. Wait, that's a notepad. Scrivener. There we go. Okay, this is part 2, chapter 16 of the work in progress. 1835, question mark. Wait, let me check that y'all can hear so I don't read this whole thing and have no one hear me. We good? Yep, comfort reads. Yep. Thank you, Lynn. Ghost stories, time slips. Yeah. Mojo says, of course, nothing better than traveling. 6 places in Poland. 6 places meaning cities? Okay. All right. Comfort reads. Yes. Okay. So let me hop back. 1835, question mark. You're going to get my edits as well, guys. It was a brilliant summer day when Amelia heard her name called to make her presentation to the board. Sister St. Clarence? A puzzled tone, perhaps at the inclusion of a Catholic nun. No, I'm not a mistake, she thought to herself, amused. She'd been standing in the hallway of the grand building of some god-forsaken charity, gazing out at the fruit trees in full leaf. She turned to follow the minion, a man who looked to be a social secretary, judging from the snowy white turn of his crisp cravat. She followed him to what the charity officers likely called a music room, though it was more like a library. The harp almost came to her eye level. The piano was covered with very fine lace, weighted down on the sides with colorful crystals. They deserved to share in the generosity, italics, and reap the benefits. Now, to see if they can get over their prejudices, end italics. Welcome, sister. Please have a seat. This will not be a recital. The man twitched the corners of his mouth briefly upward and swept a hand toward a richly carved chair across from her 3 interlocutors. The social secretary took a seat to the side of her, she noticed, so it felt a little less like an inquisition. That thought made her smile. "Thank you, Reverend. I appreciate you seeing me today." Quite irregular to have a Catholic interceding for the naval widows, but someone told us you had an idea which concerned our constituents rather a lot. Amelia paused before giving her rehearsed speech. Could she pivot to make her point this early without alienating them? She looked in the eyes of the other 2 people, an older man and a youngish woman. "I do, sir. When the gentleman mentions his constituents, does he know what portion of them are Catholic?" The man looked a bit flummoxed, if not put off. "Well, I'm sure it's a small number. The Royal Navy has always—" "It is 16%. Certainly a minority, but a significant portion nonetheless. Their families, their widows. Well, the families keep the sailors afloat, do they not? To what do sailors look forward to on land, if not hearth and home and family?" The older man made a harumphing noise. He had either said drink under his breath or he was chuckling at her positioning. And that's all I picked out, so I hope that was fun. This is book 2 in a planned trilogy about 3 women who are cousins who don't know each other because their family branches have been scattered to the winds because of the 1798 rebellion in Ireland. They are in various places in the world and participating in various portions of the social revolution project, let's say. So we started with ORLA Rafferty in book 1, who is a widow herself in the north, and we're moving on to Amelia, who is a nun in the north of England rather than Scotland. And yeah, that's all I will say for context. Thank you. So that's 9. Appreciate it. Chapter 10, back to feeling like a bug under a microscope. Name one thing you love about yourself and one thing you love about your writing. Thanks, Morgan. So, for this one, did I not put it in here? I did not do this. There's a good banner, right? Thank you, Anita. So this excruciating question. For myself, I actually came up with something that I think has been a compulsion all my life, but I think is actually something I like now. I rotate my attention to things in my life, to people in my life, to activities, etc. For example, as a kid and even now, I put socks in a drawer in a line, right? Or fold them in half, put them in a line, and I take them out like as they get cleaned and used so that I'm using all the socks and none of their feelings get hurt. um, partially this is practical for repairs and wear and everything, but also I came across the same concept in Marie Kondo's book, which I am reading, I think, for the first time. I thought I had read it, but it turns out I had not. The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. She talks about things and how they have a spirit. And after also reading the book about indigenous theory of water, the spirit of things that are not us, that are not human beings, but are still spirits, still beings. It's interesting. I think of activities, right? I was thinking this year, what if I do more hobby attention projects instead of just letting them all go dormant? For example, speaking French. For example, studying Gaelic. Those are 2 language ones. For example, dancing. For example, plant identifications. I have all these things I would love to be making progress on, but you can't do them all at once. You can't raise, like on a soundboard, all the dials, not dials, what are those called? Switches at once. You have to concentrate on one, and then another, and then another, and then you all sort of creep forward like pawns on a chessboard. But my approach is to have many, many interests and just focus on one for a little while and sort of sequence them. So, um, yeah, I have a long list. It is a full spiral bound notebook page, one column of all those interests, and I want to sort of switch between them. So, yeah, I feel like this is just my brand of fairness and kindness practice, both to the things that I care for and use and appreciate, as well as the way I want to relate to the world in terms of interests and hobbies and activities. Um, but it does sound a little weird saying it like that. But you know what? If Marie Kondo can do it, she's like probably a multi-billionaire right now. You know, I can say it too. And then one thing I love about my writing, I said, I search, and sometimes this gets annoying, but I search for the just right word. And I use old ones if they're the best ones. So, like with old books, which I feel compelled to rescue from obscurity, sometimes I have to reach back and choose an old word like Keeling, even if none of the people I asked knew what it meant. That is the title for one of my books, and it was just the right word. And I feel like I love reading other works that have very specific words for specific circumstances. And I want to do that too. And especially include words that were from a different place and a different time that we can still understand, that we can still broaden our understanding to include and rescue from obscurity. So that's another little thing that I like that I do in my writing. Um, Mike is asking a very kind question. For the uninitiated, which of your books should one read first? Well, I'll give you a quick rundown, Mike, at the end. So let me star this and just get through the chat, and then I'll come and do a quick resume in case anyone else is curious. Laura says, "Oh God, I do that too with everything. Can't stand inanimate objects. Feelings being hurt." Me too. Yes. And Catpaw says, "I love the Japanese idea of having a little ceremony, thanking things for their service at the end of their life." Yeah, yeah. And when things have been crammed into a dark, musty space and you bring them out to evaluate, you sort of wake them up. That's how she did the book's evaluation. She said, wake up and, you know, show yourself. I like it. Jenny says, I apologize to one of my ornaments when I bashed it. Oh, I love a tree with ornaments. Elaine says, that woman, I should not have unhauled my fiction books. Seemed to make sense at the time. Yeah. I have put several tabs on the book as I've gone through it. Some things I just don't think work for me, but some things are interesting to ponder. Laura says, when I donate things, I give them a little talk about how great a job they've done and how they'll find a lovely new home. That's nice. That's part of the softening and like vulnerability with the world that I think we all need. Hello, Noah. And all hellos. Julie says, I also search for the just right word, which is why all of my YouTube comments are edited. You know, when I see that a comment says edited, I don't assume anything about it. I don't assume people have sworn themselves blue. I don't assume, you know, like they're always typo ridden. I just go, oh, huh. Like, but when I edit a comment, I guess I don't really put much thought into it either. So maybe this is one you can just shrug off because I don't think people give much weight to whether it's edited or not. Hello, Ven. Wow, no, and Ven came on at the exact minute. I fear a conservancy, conservancy. Okay, and then back to Mike's question. So my first book is very pacey, plotty. It's a 19th century historical mystery about like someone waking up in a bathtub with amnesia, and she's in a dude's house she doesn't know. And like, how did she get there? There's like big plots and sort of fun stuff. Um, so historical mystery, pacey thriller kind of deal. Dulce's Legacy is a young adult supernatural thriller with a girl in high school in Nova Scotia who starts seeing visions and realizes that she's time slipping. So she has to go back and like fix something that is cursing her community. The Keating is the start of a 3-book series called Remnants. The Keating starts with the family on Mull that is struggling to keep their croft. They're there at the time of the later clearances in Scotland. And we follow them as they struggle with the changing economy after the Napoleonic Wars, the landlords, the big city, the opportunities presented to them. And I don't want to spoil the rest, but they do cross an ocean. And then book 2 is The Grasping Root, which is the family, the McLeans in Canada. And then book 3 is the McLeans, but it's not the family. It's like we're doing 2 characters each time. We sort of go down. It's the second generation by the third book. And we're following one who goes back to Scotland and one that stays in Canada. And their various journeys in the 1830s. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we've got the short story collection, which is supernatural, very speculative, fantastical short stories, thought experiments. And that's 6. And then we've got ORLA Rafferty Seeks Her Fortune, which is the first in the next trilogy, which is again more family saga historical fiction. But like I said, it's starting in the 1830s, going to 1840s, a little bit later, and it's about generational trauma and immigration and social movements a little bit more deliberately than the first series. So I would say the Keating is a good place to start, and then I hope you end up following the trilogy because I really liked the last one, and I don't think many people have read Stormrack and Spindrift. But yeah, so that's my oeuvre. Let's see. All right. So thank you for that question. My chance to explain a little bit. I am tagging 5 lovely authors that I know in the chat in different niches, right? So Sky is St. Hegius. She writes fantasy, dragons. She likes dragons a lot. So Elaine, if you don't know Sky, you might want to hop over and see if you want to try any of her books. Gareth, Book Songs and Other Magic. Many of you already know. He does many different things, but he's also an author. He's trying to sort of rekindle the flame, I've heard lately. And so I would encourage him to do this tag when he's comfortable. Holly Rhiannon Writes is the channel of the mastermind behind the Stygian collection, which is a volume of short stories that several of us author tubers and booktubers have pieces in. Colleen M. Storyteller. I didn't know that's what her channel was called. But yeah, Colleen M. Story is an author who does great pep talks and has a fun just video experience and just is really empathetic with the writing process. So go check out her channel. And Esther is part of the productivity planning crew. She's got several pen names. She's doing a romance. She's doing several different things. But very clear, very motivated, and very helpful with her sprints. So go check out her channel if you like sprint channels as well. And Elaine says, the Keating is awesome. Thank you. Vince said the Orla is really good as well. Appreciate that. And yeah, sounds intriguing. I had a plan to do a spin-off in Australia because of the prison connection. And I did not follow up on it. But yeah, I don't think I have enough refined knowledge to have any links to South Africa with my current family saga heroes and heroines. Unfortunately, that would be a really fun trip, and I would definitely have to visit a few places on the continent while I was there because I have never been. Jenny says, I'm hoping to write more in 2026. Not sure if they'll ever be read, but hopefully at least written. There you go. And again, feel free to do this tag if it gets you to do a video that you want to do. And yeah, that is it for me today. Thank you for hanging in there with this really torturous voice that I have right now. I have kept up with my 2 streams a week, even though the last 2 were silent. So appreciate you guys hanging in there for those as well. I am planning to be back in Portland next week for the regular Wednesday and Friday time slot. But I don't have my January videos planned out yet. Many of you will gasp at this, but I will be enjoying some books on the drive back. I will be probably pulling out several of these tags. The pink slips are all the tags that I have to do that are the backlog. So I was thinking about that. So lots of fun things in store. And it's the last day of the year, everyone. So happy New Year. I'm sure, Mike, it's actually New Year where you are. So happy New Year. And yeah, be safe. Diversify that reading list. I love hearing about your sharings across the world, across the reading universe, and look forward to more of that in 2026. Yeah, take care, everyone. No videos. Wednesday and Friday, I'll have it the day before, if you're lucky. You are much better than I am at planning ahead. Yeah. Plans have been changing very rapidly here at the family environment. So yeah. All right, here's to a better 2026. Oh, okay, you've still got 3 hours. Well, enjoy the fireworks in your time zone, and happy Hogmanay, guys. Have fun. All right. Yeah, I'll end with that. Thanks, Jenny. Thanks, everyone. Happy reading.